Either brass or woodwinds contain mostly mid-range frequency content, so they can easily conflict with guitars, vocals, and snare drums. In this movie, I'll show you what to look for when it comes to EQing brass or woodwinds. In this example, we have a solo saxophone. Let's take a listen to it un-EQ'd. So now let's go to somewhere around 120 cycles, because that's where the fullness comes in on most woodwinds and brass. So let's go to 120 or so. We'll go to 133, that's okay. Crank it up a lot so you can hear it. Actually, I'm going to put a peaking filter on as well. Now you can hear it gets a lot fuller at that frequency. Now you won't want to add 7 or 8 or 9 dB like I just did here, because what that will do is it will get in the way of some of the low frequency instruments. So unless it's pretty much sitting out there by itself and needs just a little bit of help on the low end, usually you're better off if you don't do too much, and if you only do a couple dB, that might be enough. So you always want to make sure you use any EQ in moderation, because if you use too much, it will usually make things worse instead of better. Now let's go to right around 5K or so. And let's put a peaking filter on one more time. Let's go up here. Let's bring this down to 5K. And have a listen what happens when we add a lot of 5K. Now that actually sounds okay because it brightens it up a lot, but you have to worry about 5K in that if you add too much, what's going to happen, it becomes very piercing. In this case, it needed that extra 5K, so it's all right. But you have to always worry that adding too much is actually going to be counterproductive. Once again, how it works in the track is always best rather than listening to it by itself. And finally, on a saxophone, there's a special case, and that's in around 1 to 2K. And let's go to 1K and boost this here and listen what happens. One to 2K makes a sax squawk, and it's very unwanted. It's not a really good frequency for the sax, so best to stay away from that for the most part. Finally, just like with most acoustic instruments, they benefit greatly from adding a high-pass filter. And usually you could dial in somewhere under 100 cycles and get rid of a lot of unwanted noises like rumbles from outside, truck traffic, things like that, that sometimes you can't really hear, but it's picked up anyway by the microphones. And all it does is muddy up the mix. It doesn't add anything to the sound. So it's a good idea to always put a high-pass filter on if you can, because it will clean up the mix quite a lot.